Crosswords, the show where everyone has an opinion. And here's the person we all value, Gillian Hyde.
Thank you. Thank you. Hi, thanks for joining us and welcome to the show once again. Today we're into a very personal area. What do you think? The way you judge things and make decisions is very often the result of your own personal values. And of course, the words that you use tell us a lot about those values. But do we always know what our values are? Well, let's just try something with our two contestants. Please give a warm welcome to Joe Kennedy and Philip Tanner. Hello. You are going to love this, I know.
Right.
I'm going to give you $100 each right now.
Fantastic.
But first, what are you going to do with it? And what will you do?
Well, I'm going to buy myself a new pair of jeans, some new records, and take my girlfriend out somewhere terrific.
I'm going to get some really nice perfume and some new tights.
Right. Well, can you tell any more about the values these two people have from their answers? And what about your answers? Do they tell you any more about yourself? Worth thinking about, isn't it? OK, on with round one. Into positions, please. On our board are some numbers. And behind those numbers are pictures of people who might be telling us something about their values simply from the way they look. OK, Philip, choose a number.
Box number 1, thank you.
A very good place to start. OK, a surfie. Philip, what values might he have?
I'd say he values the open air, physical fitness, sport, and is probably a dull bludger.
Ooh, OK, Joe. Now, I'll give you a point if you can pick the values that Philip holds about surfies.
Well, I'd say that he disapproves of them. He's called the surfie a doll bludger, and I would say that he was interpreting according to his own prejudices.
Very interesting. A point for that, Joe. Now it's your choice. What will you have?
Box number 3, please.
Number 3, OK. Right, a businessman. What might his values be?
He obviously values looking respectable and successful, but he's probably a really wonderful guy deep, 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 deep down.
All right, Joe. Well, you've tried to be objective there. I'll give you a point for that. Philip, what can you tell about Joe's values from that?
I'd say she doesn't like people who dress like that.
Funny, isn't it, how people feel that they can make personal decisions just from the way someone looks. OK, Philip.
Number 6, thanks.
Number 6. Right, a shearer or a farmer. What might his values be?
Likes looking after the land, caring for animals, growing things, and I'd call him the salt of the earth.
Right, well, I'll give you a point for that. Joe, can you pick the values Philip has about that group?
I'd say he thinks farmers are terrific, and he's probably got a yearning to be a bit of the salt of the earth himself.
I think you picked it in one. Joe, what will you have?
Box number 2, please.
Number 2. Very interesting people.
I'd say they value looking different and belonging to a special group. But I just think it's a pity that the original politics the punks had has disappeared and all that's left is the hair gel.
Very firm in your opinions there, Joe. Philip, what have you got to say about Joe's description?
Joe obviously has a bit of sympathy with the look.
You think? OK, Philip, what will you have now?
Box number 8, thanks.
Right. Well, where's your sympathy for this bloke?
Oh, that's easy. Meat pies, football, pie floaters, watching television and belching. A real Australian.
Oh, very definite in your opinions there. I wonder if they're the result of personal experience, Philip, or...
Lumping people together because of the way they look. They call it stereotyping, Phil.
OK, Joe. Your final choice, what will you have?
Box number 5, please.
Oh, here it is. Right. A turbaned gentleman. Joe? No? Philip? No idea? Well, bit short on other value systems there, but you have pinpointed what might be the values of quite a lot of other people, and you've shown quite a few of your own values in the process too. Very interesting. That's all we've got time for in round 1. The scores are tied, so it's going to be a very interesting second round. Stay with us, because we'll be back in just a moment.
What can you tell about me and my values from the way I do these commercials? What do the commercial makers think about you by making these commercials? I'm successful, pretty, and happy. You can tell that I'm a happy person. I'm always smiling, always well-dressed, and my hair is always neat. Don't you want to be like me? You can tell that I have happy children. They're pretty too. And a happy husband. They love my food. and are happy that the wash is clean and the bathroom always sparkling. Isn't that what everyone wants? Values? Isn't everyone someone like me? Or would like to be someone like me? If you aren't, then maybe you should be. And you will be. If you buy soft and safe.
We're back with round 2, and it's an unusual one. You might soon discover that there are values everywhere, yours and other people's. Now, sometimes we try to be objective. That is, not to bring our own values into the question. You could think, for instance, that the news is totally objective, just telling it as it is. But is it really? I wonder how people 30 or so years ago saw this newsreel. Just telling it as it is?
In recent years, a sinister force has appeared in our world. Its leader and its army preach a new gospel, the gospel of materialism, with a greed that denies God and says that you, the individual, has no soul and no human rights. That sinister force is communism.
Well, it's a pretty strong example. Not all newsreels are like that, are they? Now, I said it was going to be an unusual round, and it is, because what I want to discover is how you can recognise the values in that newsreel. First of all, Jo, what do you think the values might have been of the people who made the newsreel?
Well, it's pretty obvious they don't believe in communism. And they say that they believe in a God and the human soul and human rights.
Yes, good one, Jo, quite right. Now, Philip, what suggests to you that they don't like communism?
Well, firstly, they used words like sinister and menace, which is all a bit frightening, a bit cloak and dagger and secretive. If they'd used the words powerful force instead of sinister force, it would still be strong, but not quite so evil.
Yes, and the words creed and gospel and preachers are all words usually associated with a religion, but here they're applying them to a political organisation, which just goes to strengthen in my mind that they believe that the communism is actually replacing religion.
Yes, well, we're pretty clear about the values of the makers of the newsreel. Now, how were they trying to convey those values to us, Philip?
Well, if you didn't listen to the words, you'd only need to listen to the music. I mean, talk about putting the fear of God in you.
Yeah, I can always tell when something's going to happen in a movie, when the music starts before anything else.
Dun, dun, dun.
Right? A murder's going to happen or a big kiss.
Very perceptive of you. Anything else, Jo?
Yes, when the voice started, you could tell even more. It wasn't soft and comforting like a lot of advertising. It was as though the guy was in a state of panic, and you could tell that just by the sound of his voice.
Yes, another way to suggest values, the way that you speak. But what if I turned the sound down and we couldn't hear anything? What then, Phil?
I wouldn't have been too impressed, all of those troops jackbooting down the road. I mean, they could have shown us images of happy peasants digging in the fields.
The pictures were really quite strong.
Well, you've both been really good at picking some of the values in the clip and in telling us how they're transmitted to you. Great. It's worth checking out what you watch. Look and listen. How are values being transmitted to you today? And do you know they are being suggested? What an interesting round. And at the end of that, the scores are still tied. So we'll have to race back with round 3 in just a minute. Don't go away.
The value of advertising is that we know your values and we tell you what they are. What you want is a product that looks expensive. What you want is something that costs less than it looks. What you want is admiration and success. What success means is that car, that boat, and those friends. If you value these things, and we know you do, then you'll also want this. This sums up all these values: success, power, wealth, and friends. Yes, and that you're in control of your life. Without us, would you know what you wanted? Valued?
Where does she live? What sort of house is it?
It's a hovel. Absolutely disgusting.
Really? I've heard that it was quite quaint. What's a mum like?
A dragon. She really wears the pants in the family.
Go on. I've heard that she was a strong, assertive woman. But her father, I've been told, is a daring racing driver.
From the races I've seen him, I'd call him rash and foolhardy. Even reckless and dangerous.
But they've got a good family pet in Fido.
A mongrel. And their backyard's a mess. A wild mess.
I think they call it a low-maintenance garden. They tell me that her brother is terrifically intelligent.
He's an intellectual bore who cannot communicate with anyone. And he looks like a slob.
They tell me that he dresses casually. But what's she like?
Wonderful. Fantastic. Superlative. Charming. Attractive. And witty.
We're back with round 3 and it's Dear Doris time. Our old mate Mandy from Maroubra is on the line with another problem and it sounds like a rather delicate one.
Hi, Dear Doris. Yes, I am having a problem of rather a personal nature today. I hope you don't mind me talking about it with you, do you? It's just that I've got 2 friends and they're both really, really nice. I like them both heaps. But they just don't get on together. They argue and snipe at each other over really stupid things, you know, like sometimes they ask me to take sides. And it's not what they're arguing about that's even important, it's just that they find silly things to argue about. Sometimes it gets pretty serious though. So I just don't know. I just don't like taking sides. I think that can make things worse. Don't you? And they say things to me about each other like, Amanda, well, she's English. She says that Yola is a bit of a party pooper and that Yola is mean because she's always going home and studying. And when she's not doing that, she's going out with her mum and dad. And Amanda says that all foreigners are the same and that they don't mix with us, but they stick together. And Yola says to me that Amanda's really stack up, you know, with her accent and all of that, and that she, you know, Amanda, is really a bit, well, you know, common at the same time because of the way she chats up guys at discos and all, and, you know, she's always going out and staying out late and everything. Then, the other day, it just started out with us talking about whether we should go and check out the new winter gear in the shops after school, and Yola said that she'd go for a short time because she wanted to get her assignment done. Then Amanda said that a short time was all she, you know, Yola, would need because she's so short and stubby. Oh. Then Yola said that Amanda would need forever to find something to suit her crazy looks. And if that wasn't bad enough, then Amanda said that Yola better not come at all because she'd need forever to do her assignment. And if that's all she thought about, then that's all right with her. Oh, then they asked me who was right. Now, what could I say? Doris, it's just so stupid because they're both really nice people. What am I going to do?
Well, not an easy one there, panel. Philip, what advice can you offer?
Mandy, there are a few things that you'll need to sort out here, and before the end, you may not want to decide who is right.
It may sound like your friends are arguing about silly little things, but just below the surface, they're arguing about different values. And that's where the conflict is coming from.
Yep, and they're also showing a lot of stupid prejudice.
Yes, but the values, it seems to me that one friend values spending time with her family and doing well at school, and she obviously enjoys doing it.
Whereas the other one likes socialising with people outside her family, such as her friends, and is understandably interested in boys.
People do have different ways of seeing things and interpreting what they might be. For example, just a friendly chat with the guys, Yola sees as not right according to her values.
Yeah, each is imposing their own values on the other person.
But look at that stupid stereotyping. Foreigners stick together. What on earth does that mean? It seems to me that Yola spends quite a bit of time with you, Mandy. And who is the foreigner? I thought you said Amanda was English.
And, I mean, listen to Yola judging someone by their accent, something they probably learnt as they grew up.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that you have to sort out in your own mind, Mandy. Their values and your values. We can't tell you who's right and who's wrong. That's up to you.
Well, Mandy, the ball's back in your court, I'm afraid. What do you think is important? Well, thanks, panel. That was a good round. I thought you did very well on that. Joe, you'll be pleased to know you're just a whisker in front of Philip. But no time to rest on your laurels because we'll be back with round 4 in just a moment.
Coming soon. Clarify your values and check out the values of your leaders in Economic Report this week.
Welfare. What does that mean to you? Does it call up pictures of creeping socialism or pictures of dole bludgers surfing happily on the beaches? Does it mean that the government should provide basic human rights such as health and education? It can sometimes depend on the information available to you. Next week on Economic Report, we'll talk to the Minister and other interested groups on the government's priorities. Where does the welfare budget go? And how much is given to welfare compared to other areas? We'll ask, is health more important than education? Or education more important than law and order? And so on. Our in-depth interviews might reveal to you just where your government's values are. Don't miss it.
If you want to have more informed opinions, then this is the program for you.
When people have different values, they can look at the same thing but see it very differently. In other words, there's a clash of values. One example of this is the 1988 bicentennial. That's the 200th anniversary of European settlement in Australia. Now, many Australians see this as a giant birthday party, but Aboriginal Australians value it very differently.
The 1938 scene seems to fade as the first boat puts forth from the ship, and we're transported across the...
In 1938, Aborigines were involved in White Australia's 150th anniversary celebrations. There was a reenactment of the first fleet arriving in Sydney.
I desire Captain Hunter to lose no time in bringing forth...
Before Captain Phillip lands, Lieutenant Ball takes a boatload of Marines ashore to keep the natives in check. In the face of menacing savages, the white men advance up the shore of the new land.
The celebrations showed white Australian values, but ignored Aboriginal values. The Australian government wants Aborigines to join in the 1988 celebrations, but Aborigines say their values are still being ignored.
Everything that we have to do seems to have to be within the white man's framework. We can have our kids if we do it their way. We can have education if we do it their way. We can have a say in the bicentenary if we do it their way.
Many thousands of Aborigines were killed by the early white settlers. This has influenced the way Aborigines value the bicentennial.
Bob Weatherall, I'm from Queensland, and I believe that there is nothing to celebrate. I can't understand, and I couldn't accept the fact that I would be seeing Aboriginal people going out and celebrating at that time. To me, it would appear that the white people would be only dancing on top of the blood that my people had spilled, trying to maintain what we are fighting for today, and that's our sovereignty.
Some Aborigines value their survival of 200 years under white rule.
European attackers. We have to be able to celebrate our survival under the atrocious conditions that have been imposed on us, the genocidal system that was imposed on us, and have a look at this group of people here tonight. So I think on that, we have more to celebrate than anybody as our survival under such a system.
But the main difference between Aboriginal and non-Aboriginal values is the way they both see land. Aborigines don't see themselves as owning land. They see themselves as belonging to the land. They want governments to pass land rights laws, which would give Aborigines control over some of their traditional land. Only then could the values of Aboriginal society be protected.
It's in the context of understanding how Aboriginal people feel about land, not only feel but are integrated into it, that the non-Aboriginal mind finds very difficult. You can understand people who come from Europe as refugees, who began to set up a new home here. You can understand the need for a certain level of retaining of their culture and their society, and that's understood. In the same way, the Aboriginal people are asking that our culture, our society, and our rights to our religious practice and our spiritual beliefs should be protected and maintained. It's the only spiritual reality that we have. And if that's taken away from us, we end up becoming shells living on a foreign land. We become displaced refugees in our own country. If Aboriginal people cannot have security of title to land by the bicentennial year, then the Australian government's got nothing really to be proud about.
Well, some interesting ideas there and worth talking about too. But now it's on with our quiz. You're both ready to play the blanks game?
Of course.
Of course you are. OK. According to what we've just seen, some Aborigines value their blank under white rule. Some Aborigines value their blank under white rule. How are we going? Answers ready?
Yep.
Yes. Philip, what have you got? They value their...
Survival.
They do value their survival. Joe?
Survival.
Oh, twins. Great.
Copycat.
Terrific.
Cheated.
Everyone scores. Aborigines don't see themselves as owning the land. They see themselves as blank the land. Aborigines don't see themselves as owning the land. They see themselves as blank the land. How are we going? Oh, big answers there. Joe, what have you got?
Belonging to.
Of course, belonging to the land. And Philip?
Being part of.
I'd say that's much the same thing. Well done. Next question. Land rights laws would give Aborigines blank over some of their traditional land. Land rights laws would give Aborigines blank over some of their traditional land. Philip, you've got an answer for me, I trust?
I do. Control.
It would give them control. Joe?
Oh, authority.
Well done. Well played, both of you. You obviously paid attention. A very good round there. Unfortunately, not quite good enough for Philip because Joe's taken the game for today. Well done, Joe.
Well done.
But there's more for you. How often do misunderstandings happen because of different values? Values that you might have learned from your family or from your country or anywhere else. See if you can pick the different values here.
Woo lum. Woo lum. Lum. Send in Mr. Lum, will you please, Susie? Mr. Lum, how do you do? Thanks for coming at this time, but I'd arranged a game of golf with a mate of mine this afternoon. Stan Williams. Stan. And you?
Lum.
Well, there's no need to stand on ceremony around here. I mean, what's your first name?
Lung is my given name.
Lung? Oh. Well, I'm sorry. It says Wu here. Wu Lung.
That's right. In Chinese, the family name comes first.
Ah, well, what do you know? You learn something new every day. Sit down. Thinks it's funny, does he? Patronising little kid. Sun's over the yard, arm. Drink? Beer?
A beer? I don't want a beer. I hate beer. But how can I refuse?
Oh, yes, certainly.
The kid's coming for an interview, not a social chat. I might have offered it, but he should know better than to accept. There we are. I need this. You play golf, Lum?
No, sir.
Right, business.
That's why I'm here.
That's why we're all here. This is pretty impressive. Just what I'm looking for. You speak 6 languages. I'm still having trouble with one.
That's right.
Hmm?
I mean, that's right. I have 6 languages. There are 3 languages spoken in my family, and I learned another 2 at university, and I have a Greek friend. And I picked that up pretty quickly, too.
Oh, your Greek friend?
That is my private life. It's none of his business.
I beg your pardon?
Yeah, well, of course, that's none of my business. Glass is my business. And it's obvious to me that you're a pretty smart kid. But a bit shifty. Why won't he look me in the eye? Won't go far in business that way.
I'm showing him all the respect I can, and it doesn't seem to be getting me anywhere.
You must have some questions for me. You haven't asked anything about the super scheme details, for example.
I would like to know, of course. Why doesn't he tell me?
Well, go ahead. Feel free.
The job sounds right in itself, thank you.
Thank you? This guy isn't serious about the job. He's either so sure he's going to get it, or just doesn't care. Look, I'll tell you what, Long. I'll speak my mind. Now, there are a couple of other companies in this area like mine. One's been started by an Italian, and naturally he gets all the Italians in. Now, I reckon with a bloke like you with 6 languages, I should just about get everyone else in, bar the Martians.
Oh, so that's why he wants the languages.
Do you get my drift, Mr. Wu?
He's shouting at me. What have I done wrong now? He must be angry.
Look, Mr. Wu, can't you ever talk straight with me?
I do want this job, Mr. Williams. I really do.
Why?
Well, it's like you said before. Business is why we're all here.
Straight talk. That's what I like. Look, Wu, Lung. Look, come here. Look, I'll show you some figures. And, come on, come here.
Is that
I'll show
what
you some figures and...
He points and beckons to me in a way one points and beckons to a dog.
Look, Long, I tell you what. I'm a gambling man. I'll take a chance with you. We'll see how you go over 6 months, and it's fine.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. Thank you.
You're the best contender anyway. You'll be okay. Here, have your drink. Now you've got something to celebrate. I'll get all I can out of him in 6 months, then give him the shove.
I'll put him out of business in 6 months.
Six months.
Well, what was happening there? Why were there 2 conversations? I wonder if you've ever been in a situation similar to that one. Well, that's all for today. Bye.
So that's it. Opinions and values from everyone. Our happy housewife tried to impose her values on us. Are we all like her? Do we really want to be like her? Is the value of advertising telling us what we want? Who knows? Joe and Phil tried to clarify Mandy's values, but they had to leave the final decision to her. She has her values too. And why was she standing beside a war memorial? Are we imposing our values on you? That's Passwords for this week. This is Graham Linden speaking.
If you enjoyed life on Earth, here is Australia's stunning answer, Nature of Australia. Sunday night, we explore the sunburnt country, that arid interior of burning sand known as the Dead Heart. You'll be surprised to discover it teems with life. And when the rains drench this thirsty land, it becomes a living heart. The Extraordinary Nature of Australia, 7:30 Sunday on ABC. And the book of the series is available now from ABC shops and bookstores everywhere.